Washington.
Here.
Director Alfred Wallace.
Here.
Director Rick Webb.
I'm here.
Vice President Ben Stewart is absent. President Byron Glennon.
Here.
General Manager Tim Domingo.
Here.
All right, via teleconference. Director of Public Works John Houghton.
Here.
I am the Director of Administration and the Board Secretary, and my name is Sherry Kemp. Do we have our legal counsel, Mr. John Comer, on the line with us?
You do.
Hello.
Well, welcome back, John. Thank you. Would everyone rise for the pledge, please? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think you got California in the golfing game. May the God we just pledge forgive us for being a nation that rejected His word and making a pretense of our faith. Are there any changes to the agenda? Any additions or deletions? No, Mr. President. All right. I need a motion to approve the agenda as it is. Motion approved. And a second. Second by Director Washington. Director Wallace. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. Moving on. Public comments. Now it's time for someone from the public to let us know about your concerns. We're waiting to hear from you. Hearing none, I'll speak as a member of the public, not as a elected board member. And has been mentioned before by another director here, these comments seem to be very timely, even though they were 70 years ago by my father at another board meeting, basically a school board meeting. They need to reflect, this is talking about a school board, but it kind of fits us too. Today, there are many fears about the coming election. Pretty timely, 70 years ago, still what? Still fears about the coming election. And rightly so. If we want to live in a safe community, those fears must be addressed at every level of government. We each have a small voice, but we must let our voice be heard. Those who govern at each level are a reflection of the morality of the people they represent. Those who govern at each level are a reflection of the morality of the people they represent. May this board, and that's talking about school board, reflect biblical morality. Thank you for listening to me. Anybody out there, voluntary public roll call, let us know you're on the phone. Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. CC1 is the payroll and the checks from June 18th, 19th through July 1st and through June 20th. Are there any questions? Their recommendation was to approve this motion. Motion approved. Motion approved by Director Webb. Second. I'll second it. So I'm just going to do it. Second by Director Wallace. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the minutes. The minutes were for just June 26th, regular board meeting. Have a motion. So moved. Director Washington, motion. Second. I'll second it again. Second, Director Webb. Wallace. Get it right. Get it right. As long as I don't say Stewart, you might get up. Yeah, pick the mic. New business. Retroactive approval. We've got to make sure we do this. Of an engagement letter with audit service. Are there any questions that we have about this? We've already approved this. We already accepted it. We just didn't approve it at the board meeting.
I believe Mr. Domingo has some comments.
Okay.
Good evening, board. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. So this is the same auditor that the district has used for several years, the last several years. We have in the past executed it, the staff has executed it, and then brought it back to the board as a retroactive approval. It should have been placed on the April 24th agenda for board action, and quite frankly, I forgot to do that. So I'm requesting retroactive approval. The amount, if anybody is curious, is $27,710, which is consistent with what they have charged in the past.
The recommendation agenda packet was to approve this. Are there any questions? May I hear a motion to approve NB1? I'll make a motion. Director Wallace makes the motion. And a second? No second. Director Washington makes the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. NB1. NB2,
Thank you, board.
holiday meeting cancellation. Did I hear somebody?
Thank you.
Go ahead, General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have historically canceled the week of Thanksgiving and Christmas regular board meetings if they occur in the fourth weekend. Well, obviously, Thanksgiving occurs in the fourth week, so we traditionally have canceled the November 4th meeting, or the second meeting in November and the second meeting in December. It's usually around Christmas. It just happens to land on Christmas this year, but we're asking for that now early because there are vacation requests that are coming through. We want to make sure that we have approval to do this item and then the next item. But first of all, we're requesting that the board approve the cancellation of the November 27th and December 25th board meetings for this year.
Any questions about those particular board meetings? All right.
Are we doing both of them separately? The 27th and Christmas Day, those are together?
We can put
I'm asking, are we? So it's going to be,
The motion should be together.
okay, November 27th, that's Thanksgiving, and Christmas Day, of course, okay, gotcha.
and we've always made the public know if there was really a need, we could always have a special meeting to address whatever the particular need was.
Correct.
Any more questions? So NB2 and NB3 are kind of put together.
No, you want to have a separate motion for NB2.
Okay.
That's canceling the meetings.
Yeah.
NB2
All right.
is to cancel the meeting.
So we need two motions. The first one is NB1. So move NB2.
It's NB2.
Holiday meeting cancellation. Yeah. And second, Wallace, Director Wallace. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. NB2. Now NB3. Need a motion.
Now, NB3, let me explain what NB3 is. NB3 is closing the district office from December 24th.
Yeah.
Yep. Closing the office.
I got confused.
Okay. Closing the office from December 24th through January 1st, 2025. And that we need the board to approve the closure of the office. Employers are not required to take the normal working days off. They can use vacation, and if they so choose to work, they certainly can.
They take their vacation time, right?
There you go.
Yeah, This is really nothing new. This is what we've been doing for a long time. Yeah.
Correct.
Any questions for NB3, the Christmas office closure? I have a motion. So move. Motion, Director Washington. A second. So second. Second, Director Wallace. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. NB3.
Thank you.
Directors' reports and comments. Director Washington.
We're moving fast here. Thank you, Mr. President. Seems like just 2 months ago we were in Sacramento hearing a rah-rah speech regarding water storage, the Delta Conveyance Project, breaking through environmental red tape, only to open this week the proposed California 2024-25 proposed budget to see lawmakers, in fact, slash funding for water storage and dam repair grants in half. California has nearly 1,540 dams, large and small. 42 of these dams have state restrictions on the amount of water that can be stored because their current safety deficiencies would raise risk to people downstream from the dams, from earthquake storms and other potential problems. 2 years ago, the governor touted dam repairs as a key approach to shore water supplies. But today, $50 million has been slashed from the grant program. Owned by cities, counties, utilities, water districts, and others, these dams have lost 330,000 acre-feet of storage capacity because of the safety restrictions. That's enough water for 3.6 million people for a year. John, I may need you to help me out with this one, but last week, the State Water Resource Control Board approved permanent water restrictions for the first time in California history. The restrictions are aimed at permanently decreasing water usage so that the state reductions during droughts aren't so severe. The policy affects municipal water suppliers and not residents. These reductions will take place over a 15-year period. Is that about what's going on with that, John? Okay. And lastly, a big thank you to our PR team for the excellent monthly newsletter discussing fire safety tips. It was right on time for the 4th of July as once again fires destroyed 2 homes in the community. It appears illegal fireworks was the cause of these fires. Seems we as a community need to find a way to remove the many dry tumbleweeds stacked against dry fencing in residential areas. Seems like county safe burns would sure add some comfort to our community. You can burn tumbleweeds, all I have. Yeah, you can burn. You want to drop, you can get a fire permit. Burn tumbleweeds.
Director Wallace. No one happened. Director Wynn.
Good evening, everyone. Last week, I met with the RMAC people, Jill and Emily, she's out in the audience there, about developing a CERT team to have our own team here in Roseman to respond to our emergencies. And we talked about jointly doing it together, and I'll continue to work on that, and I'll be able to report back on the board, to the board by next meeting. I met with Bob Vincelette from the school district. He had a ton of questions about everything from water to the wells at the school and all, so I referred him to the general manager. And this goes back to what Director Washington was talking about, water consumption. Apparently the state of California with these ADUs, they think it's a good idea now. They're going to start letting cities build them, then they can sell them. So, before they just were talking about having enough housing, so it sounds like this is going to be another whatever. And the concern I have, if these people get away with just putting one line in there, one sewer line in there, then they go sell that property, that's going to create a whole other thing. But I guess San Jose is the first city that's trying to do it. But ultimately, I understand the housing crunch, but I also understand the fact that they're trying to skirt these utilities getting paid for the sewer and the water and all this as far as having the proper hookups. But I guess more is coming out on that, but that's kind of a hot topic like Director Washington was talking about the water consumption, the water conservation. I guess that's going to be a hot topic coming down also. That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
General Manager, do you want to speak to that? Because we're facing that just a little bit here. Do you want to explain that a little further about this one line to actually two homes to what it comes down to?
So, the ADU issue is, ADU stands for Accessory Dwelling Unit. So, what that is, it traditionally used to be called a granny flat. So it's another structure that serves as another home on a single family residential lot. That's the classic sense of how an accessory dwelling unit used to be. But we actually have a proposed development that has approached the district about it's converting a mobile home park to a single family dwelling, and then coming back later to then put in an ADU. And how it impacts the district, Director Webb kind of alluded to it, but how it impacts the district is we are restricted as the water and sewer district to charge what's called capacity fees, because they're saying the one line that is already there serving the single family dwelling has already paid that capacity fee. And what they're saying with these accessory dwelling units is that, or it's not a new connection, so therefore they're not having an impact to the system. Well, we all can reasonably understand that there is an impact to the system. There is going to be an impact to the customers, but again, the state is weighing the housing crisis versus providing. That's really the crisis that they're trying to deal with. I have a feeling that this is going to be revisited later. I know that the CSDA and special districts have lobbied in the past against the ADUs unsuccessfully, and quite frankly, Director Washington talked about water conservation being mandated. They call it's called water conservation as a way of life. That's the way they titled the legislation, and that is probably going to end up getting revisited too because of some of the assumptions that staff has made. We participated in a couple of letters of comment trying to get some of the interpretation of the legislation changed to make it less restrictive. Just to give you an kind of a forecast of what we're expected to do, we're expected in 10 years to reduce our water consumption overall by 41%, according to their calculation, the way their methodology. So it's a serious thing, and just to give you another perspective on that, it is going to affect revenue. So what's going to end up happening is, in order to balance, we measure our services based on the amount of water that's delivered, at least partly so. We have a base rate as well, but then we try to measure usage and charge according to that. Well, if customers are basically forced to use less, obviously we have less revenue. So obviously, in order to maintain what we need to do to maintain our system, it is very possible that those rates will need to go up just to cover the fact of the lack of revenue. So it's kind of a trickle-down effect that I don't think a lot of people are thinking about, but we're very aware of it, and we're going to do what we can, at least to try to tackle it and try to comply. But to reduce water consumption by 41% is just not tenable, in my opinion, because I think we do a really good job already. I'll get off my soapbox.
Well, just Mr. Jam, what they're not factoring in for us is before this even came down, I think we were down 20%.
Correct.
From that 2020, we had that number, we were way ahead of that. So if you have that 41%, you're looking at 60% reduction over the last 15 to 20 years for this community.
Right, and so we've already seen the push to convert landscapes, because quite frankly, that's where the that's where the calculation or their methodology is hurting us the most. Is in the irrigation. The whole point was not to force people to take quote unquote force people to take their landscapes out and convert them to xeriscapes. But in essence, this is what we're kind of moving towards. And the big concern that I have is we're going to end up being the state's bad guy, quote unquote bad guy, because we're going to have to enforce it, and it's going to be I haven't seen what methods of enforcement, but it's going to be it very likely will be monetary. So it's just very, very I understand the need for conservation. I think everybody understands the need for conservation, but to force the takedown of people putting in their landscapes that they counted on having for years, and then all of a sudden having to convert it's just not, it just doesn't seem like where the community wanted to head. But unfortunately we're being forced out.
Is that over a 15-year period? They mentioned the 15-year period.
Yes, it's a 15-year period, but I mean, honestly, do you foresee a 15-year period where you can reduce your water consumption right now 41%, each and every one of you, for example?
You don't have to do that the first year, right?
No, we don't have to do this first year.
15 years, that's a lot.
My comments kind of got put all this together a little bit, and this is a layman's comment. Our voters need to realize that when they say the municipality is going to be responsible, not the customer, the business is going to be taxed, not the customer, they're lying through their teeth. The customer is going to pay for it. That's right. Period. So the customer needs to be voting for somebody who isn't lying through their teeth about taxing big business and they're going to pay for it, or taxing the municipality, making us the enforcers of the regulation. Goes back to the people we elect. Let me get off that real quick.
Is the district allowed to, if people go over, is the district allowed to fine them? Penalize them?
That's what they want us to end up being. Yeah.
Yeah. So what people don't realize, I mean, when people think about this, when they talk about, well, it's the district's responsibility, well, guess what? Customers and community, you are the district.
Yeah.
So you're basically, you're basically going to have to police. We're obviously going to have to, as the government entity in place, we're going to end up enforcing it. And what you said is true. I will try not to get political on this either, but I think we're just asking for reason. That's all we're asking for. Just let's be reasonable about this, so that because we all have the same goal. I just think some people want to treat the entire state the same because we're arid. We're in an arid region. We are, we will also want, to some respect, some type of tree canopy. I mean, in order to cool down and get away from the heat island effect. I mean, I know we're in the desert, but there's the heat island effect on top of everything else. And in order to create cool spaces, we're trying to do that. With the landscaping we have and the tree canopy we have. What's going to be forced out is that those actual features, those amenities. So that's what's really discouraging about this whole approach.
I will get political. People who are very good as far as income and support are leaving California because of the direction that this state is going, and it would be anathema for the one leading California to end up leading the United States. It would be anathema.
I love political Mr. President.
All right, we get off the political thing. I went to the AVAC meeting last night, and theirs was probably about as short as ours is going to be. But there was a good reason for theirs being short. They didn't pay the air conditioning bill, and the electricity was turned on. No, the air conditioning was out, so the meeting moved pretty quickly. Not much happened. I assume you're going to talk something about the economic meeting that's going to be here tomorrow that's open to the public to come and attend. Sherry?
Do you want me to? Yeah. They will be here from 2 to 4.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. Everybody hearing her on the phone?
So the meeting that President Glenn is referring to is the East Korean Economic Alliance. They're going to have a business meeting. They anticipate approximately 40 folks showing up from various businesses throughout East Kern. They give an update about what's happening in their community and their business. So it's informative. We were discussing, Kim, that John Joyce used to be the representative for Rosamond to give an update about what's happening in the community, but I don't know who the new representative will be for our area.
Might be the Mac fellow. Kay.
McKay? Joel McKay?
Might be. You're not thinking of that.
What do you think, Ms. Smith?
I don't think so. Yeah. Oh, possibly from the chamber? Okay.
The only,
Verify that, please. Okay.
the only people that I've ever seen attend from Rosamond was John Joyce.
Yeah.
I used to go to him when I was on
Byron
Friday night.
attended last year?
Yeah, I did. Everyone's invited, and it's a good meeting. You get a feel for what's going on everywhere else,
Correct.
and especially in Kern County, at this end of Kern County. Also, the board members have received an invitation to the grand opening of the Tropical Middle School expansion, and that's going to be on, let's see, Friday, the 26th of July at 9 o'clock out at Tropical.
What's the meeting we're having here, the 30th, Sherry?
That's the Kern Council of Governments meeting.
All right.
Is that a good one?
That's a good one as well.
Mr. President, I'd like to touch on one additional thing that was mentioned at that.
You may.
meeting. That caught my attention. They invited their water quality manager to speak, and she talked a little bit about some of the testing going on now throughout the systems, and there's no detection of PFAS in the system. So I thought that was a pretty good thing to hear.
We did our testing also, and there was no detected work.
Right.
All right. Moving on. General Counsel update.
Other than to say I support the district in the matters discussed tonight, I have no soapbox and no political comments.
We're not going to go to jail, huh?
I don't think so.
All right. General Manager's update.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, apologize for not being there. Let's just say summertime colds really are not fun. I'll just leave it at that. I just have a few items. One is we were approached by one of the developers that purchased the water rights that the district had, reserved for development. That is apparently not going to move forward with their development, so they are requesting a refund of those fees, and it's going to be a significant amount. So it was suggested by our accountant that we should probably bring that one to the board, and so it's going to take some time to move some money around anyway, about 3 weeks. But so in essence, we're gonna make that formal request through the next meeting's agenda. But we might need to consider a policy for an administrative fee to also charge, and Brad had suggested an amount. So I'll include that in the request, and perhaps we may establish a policy as well. I don't want to get into the whole policy kind of rewrite. Just maybe use this to start a policy, but because we haven't had this happened yet, but it sounds like it's something that we'll need to have in place. So that's one item that's going to come next agenda. Also, just wanted,
We need to make sure we collect administrative costs if they fall through, shouldn't we?
oh, absolutely, I agree. You know, we spend time doing what we needed to do to generate the refund. So that's what the kind of administrative fee that we'll charge. That. Then also, John may report on this. I don't know. Hopefully, I am not taking some of this thunder. But Roseman Boulevard, the utility raising was all complete. I think we may have reported on that. But there's a notice of completion that needs to come to you. That will be coming to the next meeting as well, so that you can file that, so they can get their retention and finish that project contractually. Other than that, I believe I'm going to be in the office tomorrow, so it'll be great to be back in the office. But then I'm going to be on vacation next week, and then returning on Tuesday, July 23rd. So I apologize for those that. Apologize to everybody that have not been in the office because I've been out sick, but I will be back Tuesday, July 23rd, and I'll be checking email as I'm gone, so I'll be reachable. But anyway, that's all I have for tonight.
You know, I got a notice today from the state of California. They wanted me to sign it. It's on the freeway.
Oh, right. Right. They want,
why did they make you sign it?
because when you complain, they can say, you knew about this. Quite frankly. But yeah, I've received that letter, and I will probably send our response tomorrow.
Yeah, everybody's got her hand up.
I just confirmed that Bill LeGay will be at tomorrow at 9. Wonderful. Thank you.
Great.
All right. Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mr. President. So just to report on our shut-off process, we had a total of 8 accounts, which is, I think, one of the lowest amount of customers that were shut off for non-payment. That happened on July 9th. We also had one payment arrangement account that was shut off for non-payment on July 10th. So people, I think, really want to pay attention to paying their water bill so it does not get shut off, especially in this heat that we're having. I was also going to remind everybody about the East Korean Economic Alliance, but we've already spoke about that. And I just wanted to let the board know that all staff has completed their required annual safety training and right to know class this week on July 8th and 9th. That's the end of my report.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Did they notify us when it's time for us to do our sexual harassment?
Yes. We will notify you.
You will notify us?
Yeah, Vienna is the one that keeps track of all of that for us.
No one was injured at the safety instruction, was it? Were they?
No one was injured.
Nobody did.
No.
What did they call the doll that you used to exercise? They don't probably do that anymore. Molly or something?
For CPR?
Yeah. I believe it was Molly.
Rescue Annie? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do the CPR this year. It's every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
The CPR will be up next year.
How often do we look at the defibrillator? Do they need to be checked like a fire extinguisher or anything like that? Or the
defibrillators.
Defibrillators.
Do you know, Kim?
Do they need any kind of service or?
Annually, they're to be checked annually.
Oh, okay. So somebody does come by and look at each one of them annually.
Yeah, one of us is going to do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Director of Administration.
Welcome.
Public Works update. John Housen.
Well, as usual, you guys have the report. If there's
Yeah.
any questions, I'm happy to answer it.
I noticed 7 graffiti. That's up a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, he's on the rise. It's been warm for a while, though. They had warm weather, but it's been warm for a while.
spray paint dries faster.
There's been out since last week.
Thank you for doing it, really.
Yeah, we should have any back that, so they call me in.
Well, yeah, all the ones we received.
Because we just happen out those cars that you done.
Great, yeah.
So you think that has a why there's a
Okay.
call me?
I think the word is spreading.
Yeah.
Yeah, the word is spreading.
That's a wonderful thing if they do that. That really you don't have that all over the community.
Exactly. That was an option.
Yeah. Because the town has got a lot of graffiti. Gives it a bad look.
Let me know if
You know, like I said at the last meeting, if we could kind of generate some discussion at the Chamber of Commerce meeting among business owners, they can probably fight some paint and not just their building, and it would help us out tremendously in our groups. I'm looking forward to the day they make paint that they can't paint over. Well, they do have a. Yeah, it doesn't work good. It don't work good.
A comment to Public Works. A lot of the individuals in my neighborhood know I'm a director on the board, and so they think I can solve the water problems that exist in our neighborhood. So they call me on the phone or they knock on my door. Anyway, I was informed there's a water leak, and this was right after the closing. Nobody was at work, and because we're directors, we're kind of on the clock 24 hours a day, as far as calling. And John is also on the clock 24 hours a day. So I went down and looked at it, and there was water leaking out of the street, which is ours. And so I called John, and he answered right away. And we have somebody on call, or maybe they haven't gone home yet. And there was somebody right over there, looked at it, and they didn't tag it, but they put cones out where it was. It's a small leak, so it's probably lower down on the
Needs to be fixed right away.
Yeah.
Generate over.
Right. Yeah, and I don't think sometimes they understand that we don't want to call out a crew and pay overtime for something that's a very small leak. But anyway, the response was the fellow that you called. It was within 20 minutes. He was over there, looked at it, and put a cone on it, and I assume called you back and reported to you on it. Yeah. So we've got a quick response, and I think John's responsible for that quick response, even though he may not have the feet on the ground. he moves quickly. Any comments for Public Works? All right. If there's nothing else, moving on to a motion to adjourn. Director Wallace makes the motion. A second. Second, Director Webb. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We adjourned at 6:39. The air conditioning will be working tomorrow for the meeting. If you want to come and see it, it's the afternoon here. 2 o'clock.